So as a candidate for the Maryland House of Delegates for the 45th Legislative District, you have a huge job ahead of you, brother. But first, tell the viewers out there briefly who you are.
Well, I'm Marques Dent. I'm a candidate for the 45th District, state of Maryland. I'm 6 years out of the Air Force. I was a captain. I worked for our fabulous President Barack Obama down at the Pentagon. I was there for 3 years. I did satellite infrastructure, and I was actually the presidential courier, top secret courier for the president for 3 years down at the Pentagon. From there, I developed several outreach programs in my personal life, the Dent Group. I'm also affiliated with Save the Children, Save the Nation, the vice chair of that group. That's comprised of the Poet Society, Elks Lounge, Coach 285, the NAVVETS, National Black Veterans Group as well, and African American Firefighters Historical Society. And all we do is outreach for children. Because right now, especially in our district, we have a problem with after-school programming. It's either non-existent or expensive. And right now, with the violence that's here in the 45th District, our kids need to have a place to go from those critical hours from 3 to 6 p.m.
Yes. Parents, these are after school hours.
Exactly. Parents are at work, parents are at school. A lot of the kids' parents, younger parents, they're in school, night classes. They don't get out of night class until 6 p.m.
Yes.
Those children need to have somewhere to go where they can have proper programming, enriching programming. And that's what I like to provide to the community from an educational level for our students. I read to the students. I go into a lot of middle schools and high schools, elementary schools, and I do that through these different outreach programs.
That's awesome.
Also with the Dent Group, I have an adult education program as well. And I start them as early as 16, all the way up to 65, 70 years old. And with that educational piece, I take them literally from cradle to grave. So if you have a high school diploma, getting your GED, I get you right after that. I train you in IT because that's my business. That's what I know.
Yes.
So I train you what I know. So I train you in IT, get you certified, and then I do workforce development from that piece. So over the last 2.5 to 3 years, I've employed almost 250 Baltimore City residents, not just in the 45th District, I'm talking citywide. Citywide.
Okay. Wow. So let's talk about the people that you attract. How do you get those people? How can those people come to you?
Through different platforms, social media, knocking on doors. I get the word out there about these different programs. I go to all the community meetings. I tell them, hey, I just had 70 jobs with BG&E. I got 20 people directly from the Oliver community positions. And I got about 30 people just in the 45th District positions out of those 70. So that's a huge number. Those people who didn't have jobs for Christmas, they got jobs now. And one of the things that I want to impress upon people is accountability. A lot of our legislators say they'll do this and they'll do that, and that's fine. You can't always, make good on all your promises, but I never make a promise that I cannot keep.
Exactly, and that was one of my questions. What do you hope to put on the table, so to speak, if you're elected?
Well, in Annapolis, you gotta understand, there's city and there's state.
Yes.
So there's city issues and there's state issues.
Yes.
From a state perspective, from a legislative perspective, I need to go down and champion the different causes that are here in Baltimore City.
Yes.
So I need to do that down in Annapolis. The way that is done is through legislation, the writing of laws, the writing of bills. With those bills, you need to know the language, the legal ease, so to speak. I did 1 year law school up in Delaware. I also working on my doctorate over at Morgan. So I know the verbiage, I know how to craft these different type of bills. Not to say anyone else doesn't, but I have the requisite knowledge to do that.
The requisite knowledge.
In addition to that, I worked on the state legislature before. I was a community liaison for Kiefer Mitchell out of the 44th District, and he taught me how to be a legislator. He taught me how to go in and take an issue from the community, put it on paper, and get it passed through sponsorship of other delegates that help you craft these different bills. A lot of times you get a legislator down there who may or may not have the requisite knowledge and know how to really craft a bill. Or really take whatever your issue is as a constituent. Let's say your issue is after school programming. He said, well, we don't have any money from the city. So we got to find different funds, different bond bills, different amortizations to allocate state funds and bring them back to the city.
True.
And actually write that language in there where it comes directly to the source of the problem.
True.
But if you don't know how to write those different type of documents,
You can't do it. You're lost.
exactly.
At what point in your career, Mr. Dent, did you decide to go into politics?
And actually, you know, I'm not even going into politics. I'm just continuing with my public service. I've been a servant in the community since I was about 10 or 11 years old. I've been out there championing different causes.
Yes.
From when I was about 11, I took my father to the Million Man March.
And that was one of my questions.
And the Sun did a nice article about
Yes,
this when I took him down there. And one of the things that was very, very important to me with that experience with my father was the unification of African Americans.
Yes.
Because we need to be strong for ourselves to be strong for the rest of America.
Yes.
You know, black people, we're the backbone. We build a lot of different things.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that we have strength within ourselves, not just educational strength, I want to make sure we have economic strength. So I want to make sure that everyone, you know, has proper economic strategies as far as their businesses and providing for their families. So from that early age of 11, I got bit by the bug, so to speak, and I've been all about serving the community ever since. I mean, even throughout my military career, you know, I raised my hand to serve my country.
Yes.
And the president selected me when I raised my hand to serve my country.
That's
So
awesome.
I fully expect and I hope that the residents of the 45th District will select me as well as I raise my hand again.
You heard it. You heard it right here. In July 2013, you had a peace rally for crimes in Baltimore in the parking lot where you used to sell snowballs. Talk about that experience and what was that like?
Let me be clear, I'm from East Baltimore, born and raised.
Okay.
I've only ever lived in East Baltimore from my youth and then in my adulthood, except for when I was in the military.
Okay.
At about 13 years old, I had a snowball stand on North Avenue Broadway. You
Yes.
see the old Stop Shop and Save.
Yes.
Now it's Apples and Oranges Fresh Food Mart.
Yes.
I talked to the March family, and they've been on board and supporting me everything I've done.
That's awesome.
So when I saw the spike in the violence, I said something needs to be done.
Yes.
And I wasn't quite sure. There was a lot of marches and things that were going on. I wanted to do something different.
Yes.
So when I had my peace rally, it was 100% about programming.
Yes.
I invited a lot of different organizations to come out to educate the community on the programs that were out there, not just for summertime, but year round.
Okay.
Because if you're in a program that's enriching, you're not out committing a crime, and you're not out being a possible victim of a crime.
Yes.
So we have assailants, we also have victims. But if I can get both of them in the program, they never enter into either one of those categories.
There you go.
And that was the whole point of the peace rally. And from that point on, we didn't have a lot of crime in East Baltimore for the duration of the summer after that rally.
Wow.
We had over 175 people come out, and we got them in program, got the information. Because a lot of times, our community members, they just don't know what's out there for them.
Exactly.
And not knowing, that's the number one killer of all dreams, not knowing.
Not knowing.
And not knowing the proper resources. But if you don't know who your officials are, your elected officials,
Yes.
if you don't know how to contact them, you'll never know those resources. And if your elected officials don't reach out to you, everyone in my district knows exactly where my house is, 1509 East Chase Street. They knock on my door, and they know where they can come to get whatever resources they need.
And that's awesome, man. Most politicians won't even do that. You just gave out your address, and most politicians are like, no, you know, but that's unique, man.
Because I'm here to service the
Yeah,
community.
there you go.
So if you can't find me or get a hold of me, what good am I to you? I work for you.
Yeah.
You're going to put me in the seat. You're going to employ me to go out there and champion your causes. So why would I be an absentee delegate? Why would I be a delegate that you can't get a hold of or you only see at election time?
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been doing this even throughout my military career and since I got out the military. I've always made myself available to my community members for whatever reason they need me for.
Also in 2013, 92Q asked listeners to send in nominations for movers and shakers in the area to make the list. You were number 6 amongst Baltimore's top 30 under 30. How does that feel? Talk about that.
It's a blessing to be appreciated. It's even a bigger blessing to be recognized for your efforts in the community. And for 92Q and all of its listeners to, number one, I like to use the word entrust that responsibility upon me. Because when I made that list, that put a spotlight on me to continue what I was doing. If I'm just doing it to a blind eye, nobody knows about it. But now there's no option for failure because there is a spotlight on me, and I gladly accept that responsibility. And I appreciate 92Q and all the listeners for bestowing that responsibility on me. And as the youngest candidate for the 45th District, at 29 years old, it's a huge responsibility of mine to champion those millennials, those 80s babies, so to speak. Because a lot of times we don't have a voice, and we get a very, very bad rap right now, especially young black males. We're quote unquote out here not doing anything, not helping ourselves, and excuse my language, you know, sometimes they call us lazy. And I wanna break down that paradigm, break down those different stereotypes, and say, hey, you know, us 25 to 30. 35-year-old individuals, especially black males, we are out here doing things positive. We are here affecting our community and providing enrichment, not only to our families, but to our neighbors and our surrounding residents.
That's remarkable. Right now, you're a legislative assistant for the 44th District of Maryland, focusing on community relations and workforce development. Tell the viewers, will that be your theme going into this election?
As far as my theme for the election, I'm about people, I'm about accountability, and I'm about transparency. People direct what I do. Accountability directs how I come off, and transparency lets you know exactly what I did. So you hold me accountable for what you sent me to do, and I got to be transparent on how I did it and if I was able to accomplish it. I'm no longer working for Keith Mitchell right now, over in the 44. I didn't get fired.
You did not get fired?
I did not get fired, let's be clear.
Okay.
No, he actually pushed me to go. He said, go ahead, jump out there, run your own campaign. I'm not going to clip your wings from you. I'm going to let you go out there and fly. Wow. And he put all the support behind me. I definitely appreciate his mentorship and pushing me towards this. And the thing was, you know, the 44th is in West Baltimore.
Yes.
So it was difficult for me navigating West Baltimore first, but now I know like the back of my hand, and he said I may need that later on throughout my political career.
Was that moment like a passing of the baton of him giving you his blessings to say, hey, you're ready, go out there and do your thing?
And so I've known Delegate Mitchell for some time. He actually is an instructor and director out of my alma mater, St. Paul School. Which I give back to through mentorship and community work out there with those kids. And the one thing that he told me was, don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do something, or to wait your turn, or to let something go past you. You know, a lot of times people say, wait your turn, no, go out there and grab it, go get it right now. So when he sent me out there, it's almost like a mother bird pushing the young out the tree. Yeah. So he pushed me out the tree, and I'm hopefully going to soar.
Wow, that's remarkable. Let's go back to 1995. And we talked about this earlier. Something wonderful took place. The Honorable Kurt L. Smoke, former Baltimore mayor, former Detroit's mayor, Dennis Archer, and former D.C. Mayor Mary Berry, all standing on the steps of the U.S. Capitol. And out in all of that excitement, the men that attended the Million Man March, an 11-year-old Marques Dent, a 6th grader at St. Paul School in Baltimore, wanted to attend after hearing about the march from Louis Farrakhan down at Baltimore Arena. You said something in that article. It means a lot to the black, it means a lot, a whole lot to black unity. Talk about that.
At 11, you're not as enlightened as you probably should be or could be, but at 11, I was forward thinking enough to know that nothing can be done alone, and anything that's going to unite an entire race, and not just the African American race, I'm talking about the human race.
Yes.
Because there were a lot of Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic brethren that were out there supporting the Million Man March.
Yes.
Because it's a man march, not a black march.
Yes.
So with that unification, my lens wasn't as broad as it is now at
Yes.
11.
Yes.
But my lens has always been focused, and I'll continue that focus in my adult life.
Okay.
But when I heard Mr. Farrakhan speak, I'm actually a student of Malcolm X. I read his autobiography several times, and I was enamored by the way that he approached his relationship with community, government, and his religion. And then also when I heard and met Mr. Farrakhan, I felt some of that same spirit as far as that energy, and that was a spark plug for me. And ever since then, I've just been, like I said, I was bit by the bug. I had to be out there doing service. I had to give unto myself. If I got one slice of bread, you got one slice of bread.
Why is it important for people to vote in the primary and the general elections?
Right now, I'm actually championing a campaign to register folks to vote. I want you to vote for me. I want you to vote, period. That is our right.
Yes.
That is our right as American citizens to be able to vote.
Exactly.
I recently tweeted one of the laws that came out in 2007. If you are a felon, you can still vote. I talk to people every day. I have charges. What kind of charges? Are they active? Nah, I'm on the stat. Well, no, my felony was 3 years ago and I've already served my probation. You can vote. You can vote. Register, go out to exercise your right to vote. Because when you don't have a job, when you can't feed your children, when your wife can't go to work, these are things that your elected officials are supposed to help you with. That is their job. Their job is to help you sustain yourself from a governmental level.
There you go.
But if you don't go vote, you have no say-so who's out there championing this effort for you. So you must go vote because that is your voice. You must go vote for someone who you are confident in is going to voice the things that are important to you and important to your neighbors and important to the community that you're in. There's no way that they know that if you don't know who they are, number one.
Yes.
And they don't know who you are.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's funny that you touched on that, and I'm glad that you touched on that because a lot of people I hear, I'm not going to vote because they're not going to do anything anyway, or it's not accountable. I'm not held accountable to the vote, but you never know. And just like you said, you have to feel confident in that person that you vote for. Just not vote. Please vote. But also be comfortable with that person that you vote for to bring about some type of change here in Baltimore.
I recently talked to a Miss Marques Dent.
Okay.
She's out of the Sedona area.
Okay.
And she said, Marques, I need you to talk to my nephew, Al. I said, sure, I talked to your nephew. I already knew Al. I said, I talked to him, he needed a job. So I talked to Al, then she came back, I said, yeah, I talked to Al. A couple of days later, she get Al a job, I'm working on it. She knows where to find me to make sure I get Al this job. As a resident of community, if you can't reach out and touch those people that can help you out, they're no good to you. They're no good to you. Miss Hamilton knows exactly where to find me at all times, and she holds me accountable to that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm not perfect. I may forget.
Yes.
But knock on my door. Remind me. Mr. Dent, you said, okay, I know I said I was going to bring a computer cord for your daughter, X, Y, and Z. I like to make good on those things that I know are necessary
There you go.
for the residents of the community.
Talk about your Save the Village community organization that you partnered with in 2012.